Hello again, YouTube. It has been a very long time since the last update to my Cadillac. As you can plainly see, it is springtime. Springtime is in the air. It's warmer outside. Well, technically we're inside the house, but, I'm just starting out the video here, and I'm filming myself in my front foyer mirror as a, But anyways, right now it's springtime, the weather is nice, the pollen is in the air. Believe me, I can feel the itching in my eyes already. And, well, we're going to do another Cadillac update in the restoration blog of my car. Now, as of late, I am having issues with my air suspension in my Caddy. The air suspension has a major leak in it, but we will get to that in just a second. Once we get outside, I'll show you what's going on with my car, and I'm going to tell you what plans I have into replacing those shocks. Take a look at this. So, as fate would have it, my car now officially has a leak in the air suspension in the rear. The air suspension in the front is different. But the one in the rear, technically, right now I have her sitting on these plastic ramps. My friend Morgan was kind and generous enough to let me borrow his ramps so I can work my car on, just prop them up on there so I wouldn't have to use a jack on several occasions. And, I think ramps is a bit more appropriate. We did have a couple of metal ones. My stepdad got rid of them because one of them got bent. Long story. And here is one of the shocks. These are air shocks. These are not airbags. This is not airbag air suspension that you would see on other fancy luxury cars. No. These are what we like to call air shocks. It doesn't say what brand it is. All it says right here is that it's made in Mexico, which makes it very, very cheap and inferior. But then again, I have no complaints about that. You know why? Because low riding started in Southern California and in Mexico, and it was, I think, back in the 50s when it started, because lowriders were, they were pretty much the staple of cool back in the day. And it all started with those guys, when they had their lowriders, they would put sandbags in the trunk or in their car, whatever, to lower it, to give it that low stance look. And then later on, the shocks and the hydraulics and stuff came much later, and there you go. Lowriders. This has a leak in it. Now, getting this thing off was a pain in the ass, as you can plainly see. This, right here, there's the rubber ring. This is where it leaks out. I thought it leaked out of the port right here, but I guess I was wrong. I mean, it felt like it was leaking out of there, but unfortunately, right here where the rubber ring is, around the edge of the shock right here, that's where it was leaking out. My stepdad was nice enough to help me out, and he removed this one. The other one on the right side of the car still has to come off, so we still got some work to do. As you can plainly see, I got my work cut out for me. I got a boogie board that I'm using to lay on while I'm working on this car on this side. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking, Aaron, why don't you just get yourself a creeper? Why don't you just build your creeper? Well, generally, I don't have the money to purchase a creeper at the moment. I only get like a $20 allowance every week. It's pathetic, I know. I don't have a job yet. And secondly, building my own creeper would not be easy because I don't have the right type of rolling wheels to put on it. I mean, all I would need was a big piece of plywood or something and some of those rolling wheels, and I just screw them onto the plywood in a specific way and put a little old throw pillow on it, and then I could just lay under it, and there you go. Just roll under the car and get to work on it, right? Easy. But with something like this, in my current situation, a boogie board, an old 1990s boogie board that we've had in my family since I was a little kid, is all I've got to lay on for when I work on my car. Now, like I said, we've already got the first shock off, and this shock, this air shock is, it's going to go. They're both going to go. You know why? I was told by an experienced mechanic, well, 5 different experienced mechanics actually, that my best case scenario would be to get some regular shocks and just put them on the rear of the car. And they were right. Like, if you get some Monroe brand shocks for your car, which is a highly recommended brand, you can get some on partsgeek.com for $28 a shock. Yeah, I know it may seem like they're screwing you, but it's actually a lot cheaper than what other websites would normally charge you. But Monroe is a really good brand of air shocks. A lot of mechanics will tell you that too. And I found some on partsgeek.com for a 1987 to 89 Cadillac Brougham for $28 a shock. Now, actually, it's $18 a shock, but with $9 shipping and handling, it makes it $28 per shock. And this weekend, hopefully, if I get enough money saved up, I can get my first shock and have it put on, and I won't have to deal with any more of this plastic air tubing and all that, plugging it into that and what have you, and all the valves, having to air it up every time. It's a pain in the butt. I mean, don't get me wrong, air suspension is nice and comfy, but all the experienced mechanics that I've called, they told me that it's a nightmare to work on, and the best thing for me to do would be to get some regular shocks. Just for this area anyways, for the rear. And it won't hurt my car one bit. I think I can handle it. In the front of my car, I'm still going to have some air suspension. I don't know if it's airbag suspension or air shock. I still have to check it out, but oh, the hood's already popped. I forgot about that. But let's take a look over here, shall we? Sorry, I don't have very much of a space to walk around. Give me 1 second. Oh my god. Anyways, back to where we were. This is the air compressor for the air suspension, like for the level ride system. It's mainly for the front air suspension, not for the rear. The rear is manual. This is automatic. This little plastic tubing here, which connects to the air compressor, goes down into somewhere down there into the front air suspension and levels it out automatically 20 seconds after you start the engine. That's usually how it works. Also, I have it unplugged at the moment because due to some electrical glitching, this thing will turn on as soon as you start the car and never turn off. It'll just keep going, it'll still keep going and not really want to turn off, so that's kind of a pain in the ass for me. The car still runs, but if I were to drive this boat around the block at the moment, it would just be laying anchor. Like, it would be lying low in the rear and riding high up front. It would just be kind of a pain, you know? It's really annoying. So things are not going so well with my car at the moment, not until I get the rear shocks, and then maybe I can start taking her for more test drives. Mostly around the neighborhood, not in the city, but you get the idea. But hey, it's still a nice car. I mean, I'm still doing a lot of work to fix it. So yeah, this air compressor is what levels out the air suspension in the front. It's for the level ride system. It's like, it makes a loud buzzing noise. Takes a few seconds to level out the ride, and then it shuts off. But right now, if you were to have this plugged in, you turned on the engine, it would just vibrate. It would like turn on and never turn off. And, I mean, you'd have to unplug it. That's pretty much what I have to do. So yeah, anyways, that's what's going on with my car right now. Things are kind of hectic, but luckily it's just the shocks. It's nothing else really major that I have to fix at the moment. Oh, excuse me. So anyways, despite, all weird things aside, these air shocks that were made in Mexico, they just gotta go, man. They've gotta go. I'm gonna get some regular Monroe shocks. They are not air shocks that I'm getting. They're just regular, ordinary shocks that you can have put on your car. Simple and easy as 1, 2, 3. I could just toss these out, no problem. Now, another issue that we have is taking off the shocks is pretty much the big issue. There are 2 bolts at the top of the shock which connects this. I did not know that this end was an open-ended section. I thought it was, like this, closed end. I mean, it turns out that if I were just to loosen the other bolt, which is kind of out of reach, like there's a nut and bolt. The nut sits on top like this, on a flat metal plate that's kind of out of reach of anybody's hands. You'd have to get a universal socket wrench, ratchet socket or whatever, the one that bends any which way, and then you'd have to, have a regular socket wrench down below here to loosen the bolt part, and there you go. It should come right off. However, when I get my new shocks, my stepdad can help me put them in, and we should be all set. But anyways, these air shocks, when they're cheap and inferior. However, my stepdad keeps suggesting that I get brand new air shocks. I know what you all are thinking. You're thinking I should do that too, right? Well, the thing is, I just don't want to take any more risks. It's my car, it's my decision. I figured regular shocks will be just fine. They work just as well as air shocks. There's just, like if you have a Cadillac like mine and you want to keep the if you want to put on new air shocks, then I'm fine with that. It's your business, your car. You can do whatever you want with it, right? I mean, if you feel the need to do that, or if you want to put in regular shocks, then fine. But I recommend that too. I'd highly recommend that if you don't want to deal with the nightmare of leaking air shocks, get regular shocks. And get Monroe brand. Remember that, Monroe. Like Monroe, Louisiana, or Marilyn Monroe. Monroe. Remember that name. So, yeah, that's pretty much all you have to do. You don't have to deal with this anymore. You know, with regular shocks, you have to replace them every few years. I mean, with this, you'd have to replace, well, I guess if it was cheap inferior, you'd have to replace it every year. But remember, air shocks are expensive. They're like a couple of $100 online, or $58 per shock or whatever. I'm not paying that much. I'm just going to get some regular shocks. I mean, my car, I will still keep the air suspension in the front, though. I have no problem with that, because this air suspension seems in the front, it has not been dipping, it has not been leaking, it's still lasting a really long time, and I'm actually very happy with the way it's been working. So I have no issues with that at the moment. It's really no big deal. Now, for those of you who like Cadillacs like mine, if you even own a Cadillac like mine, I strongly suggest that you subscribe to my channel. And, you know, I mean, most of the videos I'm just babbling on, but, you know, it's just how it is with my car. And I don't have a proper phone camera. I mean, this is a smartphone camera. It's an LG 10 or a K10 or whatever you call it, but it's what I got. And I just want to let you guys know that my Cadillac is doing well. It still runs. Pretty much everything works, more or less. So, everything's fine with this car. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel, check out my videos, just the videos of my Cadillac in general. My other videos, they don't count. They're just, you know. But do what you have to do, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll keep you guys updated. It may take me a while to update again, you know, because there's just so much I could do with this car by myself. Usually my stepdad helps me out, but I'm still a car guy. I mean, if you're a Cadillac lover like me, if you're a car guy like me, subscribe to my channel. I mean, I guarantee you will love it. Alright, YouTube, well, that's pretty much sums it up for my ride for right now. So anyways, subscribe to my channel. Angus YJR. That's short for Angus Young Jr. I'm a fan of AC/DC, what can I say? Just subscribe to my channel, and take a look at my Cadillac videos. I guarantee you that you will love them. The last video I did was of washing my car, like driving my Caddy through the car wash. This was right after I got the new tires, and just before the air suspension started giving me problems. But as you can plainly see, that the recent Cadillac video update has mainly to do with my air suspension, and that I'm going to replace it with regular shocks very soon, probably in the next couple of weeks. Maybe the next 3 to 4 weeks, who knows, depending on how much money my stepdad is willing to give me. So subscribe to my channel, and keep looking up. The best is yet to come when it comes to my Caddy. So catch you later.